Have a great day, students. Welcome back to our online session. In previous session, we learned the concept of dispatcher and CPU scheduling criteria. Just recall the previous point in short. First, what is the dispatcher? The dispatcher is the module that gives control of the CPU to the processes selected by the short-term scheduler. The dispatcher have some important functions like switching context, switching to user mode, jumping to the proper location in the user program to restart that program from where it left last time. The dispatcher should be as fast as possible given that it is invoked during every process switch. Next, scheduling criteria. There are many different criteria to check when considering the best scheduling algorithm. Because in multiprogramming, a number of programs can be in memory at the same time. Processes perform I/O operations in the normal course of computation. Since I/O operations ordinarily require more time to complete than do CPU instructions, multiprogramming system allocates the CPU to another processes whenever a process invokes an I/O operations. Short-term scheduler allocates the processes to CPU as per some policies called as scheduling algorithm. The main aim of scheduling is to improve performance by keeping CPU busy at the all time. So many criteria have been suggested for comparing CPU scheduling algorithm. There are some basic criteria. Those are CPU utilization, throughput, turnaround time, waiting time, and response time. In that, the first criteria, which is very important, that is the CPU utilization. It is the main aim of multiprogramming. CPU utilization, it is amount of time CPU remains busy. That is called as the CPU utilization. Next criteria, that is the throughput. Throughput is the number of jobs processed per unit time is called as throughput. Next, that is the turnaround time. The turnaround time is time between submission of job and the completion of its execution is called as turnaround time. Next, that is the waiting time. Waiting time means processes waits in ready queue to get CPU. Means it is the sum of times spent in ready queue is called as the waiting time. And last, that is the response time. The response time is the time between submission till the first response is produced is called as the response time. These are the very important scheduling criteria. On the basis of these, we can decide which scheduling algorithm is best. Today, we are going to discuss the types of scheduling algorithms. CPU scheduling deals with the problem of deciding which of the processes in the ready queue is to be allocated to the CPU. Again, the scheduling algorithms could be preemptive or non-preemptive depending on the algorithm. There are many different CPU scheduling algorithms. These are the first come first served, priority scheduling algorithm, shortest remaining time, shortest job first, round robin scheduling algorithm, and multi-level queue scheduling algorithm. These are the basic scheduling algorithms. Now, we can learn these scheduling algorithms one by one in detail. The first algorithm, that is the first come first serve scheduling algorithm. The simplest CPU scheduling algorithm is the first come first serve scheduling algorithm. With this scheme, the process that requests the CPU first is allocated to the CPU first. The implementation of FCFS algorithm is easily managed with the FIFO queue, that is the first in first out queue. When a process enters in the ready queue, its PCB is linked onto the tail of the queue. We already learned what is the PCB, that is the process control block. Each process is newly created with its PCB. PCB, it is a data structure of process, means all the information which is related to the process is stored in its PCB. When a CPU is free, it is allocated to the processes at the head of the queue. The running process is then removed from the queue. The code for FCFS scheduling is simple to write and understand. Means first come first serve scheduling is one of the simplest non-preemptive scheduling algorithm, in which the processes which request or demand the CPU first is allocated to the CPU first. Whenever a process enters into the system, it is maintained in a ready queue and its PCB is linked to the tail of the queue. When CPU is free, it is allocated to the process at the head of queue. FCFS is very simple algorithm and is easily managed with the FIFO, that is the first in first out queue. It is also very easy to implement the FCFS algorithm. Example of FCFS scheduling algorithm. A real life example of first come first serve method is buying a movie ticket on the ticket counter. In this scheduling algorithm, a person is served according to the queue manner. The person who arrives first in the queue first buy the ticket and then the next one. This will continue until the last person in the queue purchases the ticket. Using this algorithm, the CPU process works in a similar manner. In short, first come first serve scheduling algorithm, as the name suggests, the process which arrives first get executed first, or we can say that the process which requests the CPU first, that will get the CPU allocated first. First come first serve is just like first in first out queue data structure, where the data element which is added to the queue first is the one who leaves the queue first. It is very easy to understand and implement programmatically. And a perfect real-time example of FCFS scheduling is buying ticket at the ticket counter. It is the concept of first come first serve algorithm. Now we take the example of this algorithm. In this example, given n numbers of processes with their burst time, means a CPU time to execute the process required time, that is called as a burst time. The task is to find average waiting time and average turnaround time using FCFS algorithm. The first in first out, also known as first come first serve, is the simplest scheduling algorithm. Simply FIFO queues process in the order that they arrive in the ready queue. In this, the process that comes first will be executed first and next process start only after the previous get fully executed. Here we are considering that arrival time for all the processes is 0 because it is a non-preemptive scheduling. So here priority does not matter. We take one example. It is the example of FCFS algorithm. Here table shows the processes. The processes which are in ready queue, those are process P1, P2 and P3. Next, it is the burst time, means duration for the execution. P1 required 24 millisecond, P2 required 3 millisecond and P3 required 4 millisecond. Its arrival time, it's a order to execute. The P1 is first order, P2 is second and P3 is third. It is the order to execute the processes one by one. And last, that is the arrival time. All the processes have arrival time is 0 because here priorities does not matter. For every scheduling algorithm, average waiting time is crucial parameter to judge its performance. And average waiting time is the average of waiting time of the process in the queue waiting for the scheduler to pick them for the execution. Means lower the average waiting time, better the scheduling algorithm. Means which algorithm having low average waiting time, that will the best algorithm. So consider the processes P1, P2 and P3 in the table. Arrives for execution in the same order with arrival time 0 and given burst time, that is the duration. Now let's find the average waiting time using first come first serve scheduling algorithm. So it is very important how to calculate the average waiting time and average turnaround time. The solution of this algorithm is start with the Gantt chart. It is called as a Gantt chart. Means in FCFS algorithm, which process get first in ready queue, that will be execute first. Means here P1 is entered in first, so it will be execute first. That is, so P1 is executed first, after that P1, P2 is executed and after P2, P3 is executed. It is called as a Gantt chart. Now let's see how to draw the Gantt chart. As per the FCFS algorithm, first come first serve. By using this table, P1 process is first come, so it will be first serve. So P1 is executed. After that P1, next order it's a P2. Then P2 is get executed. After P2, execute the P3. So now how to calculate waiting time for P1, P2 and P3 and how to calculate the turnaround time for P1, P2 and P3. Because what is the waiting time? The time between the time spent in the ready queue is called as the waiting time. First, the order of P1 is first order, so its waiting time is obviously 0. So waiting time of P1 is 0. Then P1 required total 24 milliseconds for the execution. So waiting time of P2 is 24 milliseconds because P1 have 24 milliseconds for the execution. So first P1 will be executed successfully, then and then only P2 will be executed. So what is the waiting time of P2? That is the waiting time of P2 is the 24. Next, P2 requires total 3 milliseconds for the execution. So 24 plus 3, that is the 27 for the execution. Then 22nd milliseconds, it's the waiting time for the P3. Okay. Then P3 requires total 4 milliseconds for the execution. So 27 plus 4, that is the 31. It is the completion of the whole processes, that is the P1, P2 and P3. I will explain again. First, as per the FCFS algorithm, the order of execution, that is the P1 is first, P2 is second and P3 is third. So P1 get executed first, after that P1, P2 is executed and after that P3 is executed. So how to calculate the waiting time and turnaround time? Normal, as casual, P1 required 0 waiting time because it is the first executed. So its waiting time is 0, means already CPU is free. So get the 0 millisecond for the waiting. Then next, P1 required 24 milliseconds for the execution. So P1 will executed after 24 milliseconds. So P2 is, waiting time of P2 is 24 milliseconds because 24 milliseconds it takes the P1 for the execution. So P2 is waiting for the 24 milliseconds. Then P2 required 3 milliseconds for the execution. So 24 plus 3, that is the 27. It's the execution time of the P2. But P3 is waiting for the 24 milliseconds. And P3, it requires the 4 milliseconds for the execution. So 24 plus 7, that is the 31. It is the turnaround time of P3. Now for the above Gantt chart, the processes executed one by one. First, P1 will be provided with the CPU resources. Hence, the waiting time for P1 will be 0. P1 requires 24 milliseconds for the completions. Hence, the waiting time for the P2 will be 24. Similarly, waiting time for process P3 will be execution time of P1 plus execution time of P2, which will be 24 plus 3, that is the 27. The Gantt chart perfectly represent the waiting time for the each process. Here P1 waiting time is 0, P2 waiting time is 24 and P3 waiting time is 27. Now calculate the average turnaround time and average waiting time. Here already we show the P1 waiting time is 0, P2 waiting time is 24 and P3 waiting time is 27. Take the average of this. 0 plus 24 plus 27 divided by 3 because it have a 3 processes divided by 3. It is the average waiting time, that is the 17 millisecond. Next, the turnaround time is called as the ending time minus arrival time. In FCFS algorithm, all the process having arrival time is 0. Here calculate the waiting time for the processes. The P1 have a waiting time 0 minus its arrival time 0 is equal to 0. P2 its waiting time is 24 and its arrival time is 0. So 24 minus 0 is equal to 24. And P3 its waiting time is 27 minus its arrival time is 0. So 27 minus 0 is equal to 27. take the average of waiting time, that is the 0 plus 24 plus 27 divided by 3, it's a 17 millisecond. Likewise, we will calculate the turnaround time for the processes. The turnaround time, it is the completion of its execution. Process execution time is called as a turnaround time. So P1, its turnaround time, it's a 24, the completion, because P1 requires 24 milliseconds for the execution. So its turnaround time is 24. P2, it requires the 27 because it required the 3 milliseconds. So continue the Gantt chart. That is the 24 plus 3, that is the 27 millisecond. So P2 has turnaround time, it is the 27. And P3, it requires 4 milliseconds for the execution. So continue, it's the 27 plus 4, it's a 31. So P3 has a 31 millisecond. P1 is a turnaround time, it's a 24 minus its arrival time 0 is equal to 24 minus 0 is equal to 24. P2, its turnaround time is 27, it's 27 minus its arrival time. So 27 minus 0 is equal to 27, and P3, its turnaround time is 23 minus arrival time is 0. So 31 minus 0 is equal to 31. It's a turnaround time of these processes. So calculate average turnaround time is equal to turnaround time of P1 plus turnaround time of P2 plus turnaround time of P3 divided by 3 processes. We take the average. So 24 plus 27 plus 31 is divided by 3 is equal to 27.33 millisecond. It is the turnaround time. So it completes the FCFS algorithm. So the processes having average waiting time is low, that will be the better scheduling algorithm. Today we learned the first come first algorithm. So there are some characteristics of first come first serve method. It offers non-preemptive and preemptive scheduling algorithm. The FCFS, it is depend on non-preemptive scheduling algorithm because it does not matter any priority. Second, jobs are always executed on first come first serve basis. It is easy to implement and use. This method is poor in performance and general wait time is quite high. This point will be understood after you will learn all the scheduling algorithms. So it have some advantages and disadvantages of first come first serve algorithm. The advantages is it is the simplest scheduling algorithm as compared to other scheduling methods. It is managed easily by first in first out queue. First in first out queue are very easy for the implementation. It is very fast as compared to other scheduling algorithms. Disadvantages of this algorithm is average waiting time is very large. FCFS is not an attractive alternative on its own for a single processor system. These are the some disadvantages of the FCFS method. Today I am going to give one homework, that is the jobs are scheduled for execution as follows process: arrival time, burst time. So solve the problems using FCFS and find out average waiting time and average turnaround time. These are the two tables or these are the two problems, and solve this problem as per the solution I already learned you, and post your answers on WhatsApp group. If If you have any problems in FCFS algorithm, then contact to me. Thank you.